Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to The Ghost and Molly McGee, episode 12. So we're really back. It kind of feels weird because the break wasn't as long as it could have been, just because we did get to the episodes a little later. But even just it's just weird coming to terms with being back with this show. I don't know, maybe it's just because it has been such a short amount of time, like we took a little bit of a break in between. But the fact that we're back, good enough for me. As I've stated plenty of times in the past, and will continue to, this is a comfort show for me. It's just fun, it's just nice, and it's comforting. There's no other way to really put it for me. It's just comforting. It's just really enjoyable to watch. And I can't wait to see what else they have in store for the rest of this season. So, yeah. I don't know what to expect with this episode at all. I don't know what either half of it will entail. But I'm excited, nonetheless, as always. Yeah. I don't know, I'm just trying to find something more to say, you know? But I guess we should just get on with it, get to the episode, and just let this excitement flow on through us. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. A very good episode, yeah. I mean, that's to be expected. If we're just being honest. So the first half of this was game night. And this was fun. So the McGees are doing their cleaning. They're doing chores. They have a chore wheel, which is a great idea, by the way. With my family, we usually just have had assigned chores. Like, for example, in our house currently, my brother does the garbage, I do the dishes, stuff like that. I also tend to shovel and shovel snow and mow the lawn and stuff. But yeah, you get the idea. Like in the past, we've had the chores switch around and we've done different things and all, but we've never really had like a rotating wheel or rotating like jobs or anything like that. I've seen this in like various shows and whatnot, and I've heard of people just doing this. It's a great idea. I've always thought so, because that way it's like you don't have the same person doing the same thing every time. It allows for differences, things to be done by different people, so that everybody it's a more equal field kind of situation. Everybody feels more equal that way, because let's be honest, some chores are easier. Taking out the trash is easier than doing the dishes. It just is. There's a lot less work involved in it. It's just more of a time thing. And I've done both, so I can speak to that. But yeah, it's like, kind of which would you rather do? And it's, in this situation, having, like, in this case, a chore wheel, and it's like, I think that's the best option. It allows everybody to get a chance to do the easier jobs and even the harder jobs. And that's fine. It's completely fair. But while they're doing it, Molly ends up coming across an old board game that they used to play all the time. While their mother wants nothing to do with it, the rest of them decide to play. And yeah, the McGees are super competitive with board games. My family has played board games throughout the years and stuff. Like we don't have like a weekly game night or anything, but we occasionally play games and stuff. Sometimes we just play like Jackbox or whatever instead, but we do play board games and all. No one in our family is like super competitive like that. But we tend to be competitive enough, and we give it our all and everything. And everyone's kind of won every once in a while. So, yeah. But yeah. So we see them play and everything, and Scratch, he wants to win, and he also wants to get out of his chore because he was assigned to doing the downstairs bathroom. So, as a way to kind of satisfy both of those, he decides to make a bet with them. I'll play you again, and the losers have to do the chore for the winner. So whoever the winner is basically gets out of doing their chore for this week or whatever. Which it's like, okay, all of the losers have to team up and do the chore for the winner, which is, I don't know if I would really call that fair, but they ended up agreeing to the bet anyway, and Scratch cheated to win. Obviously not a good thing, obviously not okay. But he cheated to win, and he did. So, while they're cleaning up, the mom, I can't remember her name right now, but she starts getting upset because she had realized that Scratch cheated. So she finally decides to just say fuck it and challenges him to a game. It's at that point that she reveals that she's kind of been hustling the family this entire time, and is actually not only really good at the game instead of being really bad at it like she was kind of assumed to be. She's not only really good at it, but she's a former champion, because apparently this game had championships, which I guess is not too out of the ordinary, because like I've been to like Monopoly tournaments and stuff, like legitimate tournaments for Monopoly. So it's not out of the ordinary that there would be necessarily a tournament or championships for it. It's just, you don't really think of that with board games that often, but they do exist. There are world championships for stuff like backgammon and all. They do exist. So again, it's not out of the question at all. But yeah, so she was hustling the entire time. She was letting them win. But in reality, she's exceptionally good at the game. Like, she's the perfect player. She won a championship 4 years, with only 1 year, like, in the middle there where she didn't win, and only because she got disqualified for making her opponent cry, which is funny as hell. But yeah, so they end up having to get rid of the game, presumably for good again, because now the mom is absolutely going insane over having, the immense skill at that. And she says she's good at just board games in general, but it's not implied if she's that good at other games, or if it's just this game specifically that she's that level of good at. It's not really made clear. But let's also talk about the second half of this episode. 12B is kind of what I was waiting for. But I also feel like this is just the tipping point for this. See, Andrea is a character that I like. I can see why some people may not. But these are the kind of characters I really have always liked. I've talked about it before, but there are certain archetypes with characters that I really get into. And one of those archetypes is the kind of spoiled type of character, a lot of times being rich, who gets redeemed in the end. and becomes not just necessarily a valuable ally or whatnot, but like a good character who has depth and intrigue and heart to them. We've seen this many times with the likes of Pacifica Northwest in Gravity Falls, or even more recently with, God, what is her name? My mind is blanking. Portia, that's it. With Portia in Sing 2. But this kind of archetype's been done plenty throughout the years in various shows and movies and whatnot. My Little Pony: A New Generation had it with Pit Petals, Princess Pit Petals. It's an archetype. These kind of characters, these snobby, rich characters who are oftentimes very full of themselves or just spoiled in general, getting redeemed and turning themselves around in a lot of ways. Pacifica is one of the best examples of it too, because Pacifica was such a phenomenally handled character, and this almost kind of reminds me of that in a way, because Pacifica's like kind of path to redemption started off with one small episode that just hinted at it, and then later went into it in a much heavier way. That one small episode was the golf episode with her and Mabel. That episode showed the positive chance for change for Pacifica, and this one very much reads the same way. We don't have like any kind of full redemption for Andrea, though. To be fair, Andrea is not like an actively antagonistic character. She, like Pacifica, was actively antagonistic, and other characters have been as well. There are characters who don't need to be super antagonistic, like Pit Petals wasn't, or Portia in Sing 2. They weren't like super antagonistic, but they were still kind of an issue that needed to be solved in a way, in terms of their role in the plot at first. It just depends on how the character is handled. And Andrea's the same way. She's never been an active antagonist since like her first appearance. That was the only time she ever was. Since then, she's just kind of been Andrea, just kind of spoiled, rich, an influencer who is obsessed with followers and likes and stuff. And it's like, I can deal with that, because she's not being a bad person or anything. She's just very stuck up and high on herself. And that's okay. And so that actually makes her redemption a little even more believable, honestly, because she never came across as a bad person. And here we find out, though, why she is so obsessed with her social media and getting all this attention and stuff. It's because of a lack of attention from her parents, which, yes, we've kind of seen a little bit of this already before in the Nightmare Before, or not Nightmare Before Christmas, wrong reference, Christmas Carol like episode with her father and all. Like that one even showed a little bit of how much she puts into this because of the clear desire for attention from her parents. Like that one showed it with her father and her wanting to be like the lead of that parade or whatever it was. And this one's going further into that by showing that she just wants attention from her parents, which is a thing that kids want. Kids want attention from their parents. Like I've heard it so many times. People share this idea that is really toxic, in my opinion. I've heard a lot of these people say, like, we're the parents. We're not supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be hard on our kids. It'll help them grow up and everything and stuff like that. It's especially brought up when it comes to like spanking as punishment and stuff like that, which, by the way, very much against. That pisses me off, actually. Um, but like when stuff like that is brought up, like people will use that kind of excuse, like we're not supposed to be friends to our kids, and it's like you're using this as an excuse to literally physically hurt your children. Do you not see the fucking issue here? Um, but it's like kids want this attention. They want their parents to notice them and to like care for them, because that's what kids need in order to properly just grow, to properly mature. Um, if their parents don't give them attention, or even worse, give them actively negative, antagonistic attention, it can really do harm on that child's psyche and really do harm to who they become as they grow up. And so seeing Andrea here just doing all of this, finding out that she's doing all of this, all the influencer stuff, all the charity work that we're seeing her do in this episode and everything, all of it just to get attention from her parents, who, as we even see in this episode, are so preoccupied on their phones, like they can't even clap for their daughter. They just like send emojis. It's like, the instant you see Molly's like crazy face fade, and just as the realization hits her, it's that exact moment that it hits me as the viewer too. It's that exact moment that it's like, oh shit, I feel sorry for her. I feel sad for her. She just wants her parents' love and attention. She is basically acting out to try and get it. She's doing everything she can to become popular, to become an influencer, to get all this attention, because she believes it's what her parents, who are like this as well, want from her. And she believes that it'll get her parents to notice her, and that's fucking sad. As someone who has been through like the negative side of attention throughout a lot of my life, with my parents getting just the wrong kind of attention and being like not raised well at all. I have sometimes almost wanted to just experience not being given any attention. And it's shows and episodes like this that make me realize how wrong I was to think that growing up. And I thought that just because I was so upset by the negative attention I was receiving, because I was so upset and emotionally hurt by being mistreated and raised toxically and just blatantly abusively. Even if not necessarily physically, even though that had been in there with the entire spanking thing and physical punishment thing. Even ignoring that, there was a lot of mental and emotional abuse. And it's like, I was raised into that, and a lot of people are. And just like me, a lot of people probably also kind of wish they just didn't receive attention because of it. But when you think about it, not receiving any attention at all is also just as bad. Because kids, again, need that attention. They need parents, or at least parental-like figures in their lives, to show them love and focus and attention, so that they can, again, mature and grow and learn and feel wanted and just be able to, like, feel good about themselves as they grow up. to feel like their existence matters. So when I see stuff like this, I again realize how wrong I was to think like that as a kid. But again, I was a kid. And it breaks my heart. And the worst part about it is there are kids who go through this in real life. Whether just not having parents who are around much, or not having parents at all. Or some whose parents just do not give a shit about them and don't pay attention. And it's not even just parents, it's whoever they're living with. I've heard numerous horrifying stories about people in the foster care system, kids in the foster care system, who are basically having to survive for themselves because their foster parents and whatnot just don't give a shit about them and don't give them any attention or care at all. And it's so fucked up in the foster care system. That's a topic for another day, but it's super terrible how it's handled a lot of the time. And so, like I said, seeing this stuff really breaks my heart. It really, if you want to make me grow attached to a character, if you want to make me care about a character really quickly, do shit like this. It will just, as an empathetic person, as someone who really feels for people, and even sometimes to maybe a really unwanted degree, this is the kind of shit that endears me to characters. You guys know, like, if you were here when I did the Gravity Falls reactions on the old channels and all, you guys know Pacifica was my favorite character, and she still is my favorite character in Gravity Falls. I love most of the characters in that series, but Pacifica, it's just her character, her story arc, her character arc, everything about her just, it hooked me more than anyone else's. And again, like, even with Sing 2, Portia's my favorite character. With My Little Pony: New Generation, Pip Petals is my second favorite character, only after Izzy. It's like, my favorite, these types of characters tend to really endear me to them. And it's like, this is the kind of shit I want. I want characters who are not only redeemed, but redeemed so fucking well that I care about them. And again, they don't have to be actively antagonistic. They can just be characters like Andrea or like Portia, who are just more, spoiled, rich, popular girls. And that's fine. That works too. So, if this is a sign of things to come with her character, I am really excited. Because we've already seen how Owl House has made Amity not just my favorite character, but one of my biggest comfort characters by, doing this kind of redemption arc with her. And she was actively antagonistic, unlike Andrea. But we've already seen how modern cartoons in this kind of vein can successfully pull this shit off. And it's like, Ghost of Molly McGee has been fantastic so far. And if this can truly pull this off as well, or even possibly better than that, like, I will be a forever fan at that point, I feel. This show, at this point, though, like, where we're at, would have to, honestly, really drop the fucking ball for me to lose interest in it, or to stop being such a huge fan of it. It would have to, like, drop the ball so fucking hard it's not funny. Because it's just that damn good for me. I love it that much. But yeah. More Andrea, please. And more of this shit specifically. Like, I think, actually, I was going to say let me check, but I think she says, like, after Molly even, like, basically saves her reputation, it was very brief so I didn't really get a great moment to like hear it or whatnot. But I think she said thank you to Molly. I think she actively and genuinely thanked her for saving her reputation, especially with her parents there. I think that was probably one of my favorite episodes of the show so far. Specifically 12B. I guess you could say one of my favorite mini-sodes. But I mean, you could count the episode as a whole, because I did like the first half too. I did like 12A. I would not say that I like it more than the holiday episode, or if you're counting mini-sodes specifically. Yeah, 10A, the Hanukkah episode, Festival of Lights, still my favorite, 100%. And yeah, part of that is due to Libby, because she is still my favorite character. But it's like this is up there. This might be my second favorite episode of the series so far, and that's saying a fucking lot, because this series has been great, and there's been a lot of great minisodes, and a lot of great full episodes too. So yeah, this did it for me, just in all the right ways. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of The Ghost and Molly McGee? Did you absolutely love it as much as I did? What did you think of the Andrea focus with the second half of this? And as always, if you know anything about the episodes to come, even just the titles, do not spoil anything for me, please. Like I said, this is a comfort show to me, and I do not want to be spoiled on it. I want to experience this show as it continues along. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.